It's the first week of the year where we have a full week of trading ahead of us. And really the first week since before Christmas where we've had all 5 days that will be open to trading. Coming in here pre-market, nothing major happened over the weekend. I know U.S., kidnapped the Venezuelan, president or whatever. Guys, the market doesn't care about that shit. The market shrugged that off. We looked like pretty flat in futures. And looking at the Forex factory, which, guys, if you ever want to know what's in the financial forecast, pull up Forex factory calendar, go down here, and look for these USD red folder news. USD red folder is a high impact news event. This is something that is going to shift price. It's going to move the market, okay? Orange means medium impact. These are something we also need to be aware of. And I would highly recommend against being in trades. You don't want to be in a trade, unless you've already broke even and you're profitable on the trade and you're just holding runners. You don't want to be in a day trade when red or orange folder news come out. Ideally, you want to watch that price develop into some sort of wick. A data wick is what we call it. And data wicks have lots of liquidity that tend to be swept in the future. So some of my highest probability setups are targeting data wicks from these news events right here. So it looks like Monday, January 5th, we've got 9 a.m. This is Central Standard Time where I'm trading. 9 a.m. is Central Standard Time. So 30 minutes after market open, we've got red folder news, manufacturing. We've got orange folder news, manufacturing prices. Drop down here to Tuesday. Nothing. We don't care about euro. Nothing here. Drop down Wednesday. We've got red folder news before market opens. And we've got red folder news 30 minutes after market open. Okay, so we've got Monday, Wednesday. We've got news events. Thursday, we've got unemployment comes out Thursday in the morning, 7:30 a.m. That'll move the market. And that's all we have in the form of red folder on Thursday. You see it right there, 7:30 a.m. pre-market. Moving down here to Friday. Friday, another big pre-market. Unemployment, consumer sentiment, inflation expectations. Okay, so Friday, Friday expect some volatility. Really, all week we've got some high impact news. It's like the only day that we don't have it is Tuesday. So the only day we don't have high impact news is Tuesday. Mondays tend to be pretty flat, at least lately that is. But usually Monday we don't have any high impact news. So there might be a trade tomorrow. You never know. I'm not bullish. I'm not bearish going into this week, guys. Looking at the charts here, let's get into it. Start with QQQ and the broad market here. And I'm on stockcharts.com. All right, I look at QQQ. I look at the 1 year down here on my range. And I like to look at some moving averages. I keep the 50 MA, the 200 MA, and the 20 EMA. And then, typically I like to switch this MACD and check the RSI. I like the RSI. I don't look at it very often unless we have a pretty big price swing. Then it can help me, when it's above 70, that's an overbought indicator. When it's below 30, that's an underbought indicator. We want to buy stocks that have value, right? We want to buy in discount. We want to sell in premium. And the RSI indicator can help us out with that. But look at where we're at right now, guys. On QQQ, you can draw this sort of converging, if you will. We're accumulating right now. Price is collecting stops above the current price and below the current price. That's liquidity. There's a lot of liquidity in the market, and these are stop losses. So somebody goes long here, they put their stop loss below that candle. Somebody goes long here, they put their stop loss below that candle. That's what the market runs on, guys, is stop losses and inefficiencies. So the market moves to two things. The first is stop losses. The second is inefficiencies in price. price gaps. Okay, gaps like to be filled in the future. So how could you look at this and say, oh, we're going higher, I'm bullish to take out these highs? Or how could you look at this and say, hey, I'm definitely bearish on this price action, we're going to tank below 600? I'm neither. There's nothing telling me where we're going from here. That candle on Friday was significant. Volume was the highest it's been in a couple weeks. Come down here to that 6 month. Show you guys 2 significant red days in a row with lots of range happening right on the moving average, the 50 MA. Now, the moving averages don't mean as much when we're contracted like this. Moving averages mean more when we're in these huge range-bound pullbacks, when price is volatile. But here we are. We're trading within these highs, within these lows. We could go anywhere from here. Okay, so no bias for me. Getting into SPY. You see SPY is stair-stepping a little bit more. SPY, actually, this is a pretty clear divergence here on QQQ and SPY. Look at how QQQ is making 1, 2, 3, potentially 4 lower lows. Or lower highs, that is. 1, 2, 3, 4 lower highs. SPY put in a higher high. Okay? SPY put in that higher high at 690 last week. So that's what we call an SMT divergence. You go down here and you look at the RSI on SPY. Another thing you can see here, if there's a divergence in the RSI, which is relative strength indicator, by the way. And what I like to do is, I'll grab my tool here. You want to map out these highs. Okay, so here's one, here's one. And then on the RSI, you can see, this is what we call another divergence. RSI right here, it's making it's up higher. RSI is making a lower high down here. Divergence, because up here we're making a higher high with price. So price makes a higher high, price makes a lower high on the RSI. So that's, probably the first thing I've seen that leans a little bearish here on SPY, that is. Get to the 6 month. And like I said, price likes to target stop losses and inefficiencies. And if I was to go and find my first inefficiency here on SPY, there's a fair value gap right there. Okay, the wicks don't overlap between 680 and that's about 678 and 682. There's a fair value gap there. Price actually tested it on Friday and bounced out. So, price, it tests that inefficiency. It showed a bullish reaction out of it. Still, you can't come up with any conclusions about price right here. There's just there's nothing to see. We're just in this range bound. Could go either way. Now, getting into the charts. The first thing I want to make very clear here, when I'm in swing trades, I need more than just a technical breakout. Like here, Lunar. We talked about it last week. Lunar is it's a top tier technical setup. It's a long-term resistance breakout of this $14 level with strong volume, noteworthy volume. Okay? But I need more than just a technical breakout. I need a sympathy. I need a theme. Something that's going to attract retail and institutional alike. And by theme, I mean something it's got that Kool-Aid effect. Everybody wants to drink it. We see when these sectors get hot, whether it's crypto, or whether it's quantum computing, or maybe it's AI, or it's electric vehicles. Whenever we see those themes start to emerge in the markets, it's clear where the money's rotating, and it's much easier to swing trade when that's happening. And I'm always keeping an eye out for themes. My scans are very much theme related. I want to see how sectors are performing altogether. And if there's a sector that's strong, I want to look for the best charts in that sector. Lunar is the best chart in a strong sector right now. We're talking about space, right? The space sector. Aerospace, industrial, engineering, okay? Aerospace is strong right now. There's no way around it. It's probably the strongest sector right now. Solar is up there too, but space is strong. Solar's got a good chart, or lunar has a good chart in a strong sector, okay? That's why it's at the forefront of my attention. And that's why I made a great trade on it with options last week as we broke through the 16 and moved up into the 17s. This chart has more room. I see this wick up here is really our next target for price, up near that 22, 23. We have to clear 17 with, holding strength in this sector. So I took a great trade last week on my options. I took over 100% on my position on next week's options. And I should still be in them, but I'm not. I should have still held. I should have. But this chart still looks really good. Love the volume on Friday. Love the way we pushed out of this contracted little range here. What do I look for my position? Pullback into the 16s, into the 15s. If we washed out below this whole range right here, I think that would draw a lot of attention, and it would warrant me getting back into position for great risk to reward up here to this 22 level. Lunar's a great chart. Again, look at this, study this, get familiar with this as a long-term resistance setup. Just a clear key level. Love the way we stair-stepped into it. And then the volume injection to push through and break through. Great chart. Great look still for us to move higher. But I want some consolidation. I want some pullback and digestion before I'm comfortable with my risk to reward and getting back in this thing. So that's lunar. Sticking here with the space sector. And you'll see ASTS. The AST Space Mobile. This one, mainly that candle on Friday, drew a lot of attention for me. That's a strong candle off the 50 MA. We're still in this tight range here of higher highs and kind of, contracted price here between 90 and 70. Strong candle. Let's see some digestion. Let's see some sideways from 83 down to 78, 79. Let's see a week of sideways here. This chart will start to look really good if it starts to curl back up to that 83 for break. I like the look of ASTS. Again, no position, just a chart that I will be watching to see how it comes together here in the coming weeks. Just a huge candle on Friday. I mean, we're talking 69 to 84. That's massive. That's 15 points, okay? Now, EMR, I've been talking about this one. Emerson Electric, it's probably the best looking chart out there right now. As far as my 50 MA criteria goes, it is shaping up here on the 50 MA, and it's starting to curl upwards into those highs to try for an all-time high run. Now, EMR, this is not a very exciting name. It's not a very exciting theme. The chart is very sound. And it's been a pretty solid place for me to stash some money in whenever there hasn't really been much in the way of themes and sectors right now. So EMR still got some money stashed in it. It's I don't usually like to trade boring names, boring themes and sectors. I like things that have that Kool-Aid effect where retail will want to get involved and they want to do it because everybody else is doing it, okay? EMR is just an industrial. It's a diversified industrials. I like the chart. I'm going a lot off the chart here and the shape that we have taking place. Common shares only, don't have any options in this name. But I think the chart is something to study here. This is a 50 MA compression pattern. It's got definition, and when you look at the weekly pattern especially, you'll really see what I'm looking at here. This thing is, it's curling up. It contracted off this huge run from 90 to 150, and it's just had this, ever since summer. It's had 6-7 months of just sideways consolidation and contraction, and now we're starting to shape up and put in tighter range as we test those highs. So EMR, great chart to study. Emerson Electric, got some cash parked in it, nothing special. Moving on. This is Reddit, okay? Another candle from Friday that really drew my attention is that candle from Reddit that went from 227 to 242 on strong volume. Continued our trend here of higher lows, and we're trying here for another higher high retest. I like Reddit when I zoom out here to the 1 year. I like that kind of change of character of this stock. How we're putting in that pretty tight base here, contracted base, as we again curl up to test these highs. Above 250, I like Reddit for a day trade. I like Reddit for a day trade above 250. Other than that, I still need to see it contract more. I don't like these wicks up here. It doesn't give me A+ or anywhere near that. It doesn't even give me B+ for a swing trade. But I could see this thing getting ahead of steam and breaking through 250 for a day trade only. What I kind of visualize with it, and this is one I was looking at last week, was Google. I guess at Google, I like Google above this 317 level, essentially, for a day trade. I expected some involvement. I expected this thing to get kind of volatile. And as you can see, the candle, it worked. Above 317, we ran to 322, but the market shut it down right after. So it's kind of a similar little line in the sand level for Reddit that I see here. Is above 250. I see some space in the chart for a day trade to target a couple point move. That's the watch list, guys. Hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. How I scan for charts, what I'm looking for. To give you even a little bit more info, when I scan, I go over to finviz.com. I do this every day, especially on the weekends, guys. I scan everything. You have to fall in love with this site right here if you want to be a good swing trader. You just got to know how to use it and work your way around it. Here you can look at the sectors, different sectors. There are some sectors that we just don't trade. Guys, we don't trade them because they don't provide any excitement. There's no swings. We like to trade technology. We like to trade consumer defense, communication service, consumer cyclical. Real estate, I don't trade it. I don't trade utilities. You can even come here and get more diversified. And you can get pretty specific here into niche markets. And you'll want to trade internet retail. You want to trade semiconductors. You want to trade software application, software infrastructure, security and protection services, semiconductors, industrial machinery. This is a very popular theme right now. Retail. Aerospace and defense. That's the theme right now. So I'm going into aerospace and defense. I'm looking for average volume over 400K. Why am I looking for average volume over 400K? I need stocks that are liquid. Okay, I need stocks that provide enough liquidity for me to take on a position and take it off. If you guys have ever messed with a stock that doesn't have much liquidity, you run the risk of not getting a fill on your order. especially if you're trading options. You have to be over 400K if you're trading options. You're going to get terrible fills. You're not going to get filled. You're going to get left holding a bag. It doesn't work unless you trade stocks over 400K. All right, from here, there's not a whole lot of stocks in aerospace and defense, so I'll just keep it here over 400K, and then I'll click on charts and just streamline it straight into the technicals and look at the charts. And I'll go through them one by one, and anything that looks enticing, I'll pull it up on stock charts and I'll break it down just like I'm doing with you guys. There's only 5 pages here on aerospace and defense. Something like this one, EMBJ, that's an enticing look. We've formed a new base above this $60 level, and now we form this kind of flat top stair step action up to the top. I don't know this name personally. I've never traded it. $65, not my type of trade, but that's something interesting for sure. This EVTL is one that I've been keeping on radar, and I'll show you guys why here. EVTL, we're talking about one it's got a hot theme. The chart it's working its way there. Had a strong candle on Friday. When I zoom out here, go out about 2 years, this looks similar to Lunar with this long-term resistance level of 7. The volume has been very good lately. So EVTL, what would make this a setup I could maybe take some action in, is a strong move back up to 7 with volume to support it, like these 2 candles. Strong move up to 7 on strong volume, and then a consolidated base. Some contraction, some tight ranges up there, something that starts to curl back up and holds volume. That's a trade that I could be interested in. And that's what I'm doing, guys, is I'm coming up with these ideas. They start on FinViz. I carry them into stock charts. And until they really give me that green light, they set up well. They're contracted. They have a tight range. I don't play them yet. I sit on my hands. Lunar, that's a good looking chart. Huge level at 14 we broke with strong head of steam. And we broke out of that consolidated base. It's got room above. Lunar's it's a good looking chart. Look at something like RDW with that volume coming in. We're down here pretty low on RDW, and there's really no key levels that chart's working up to. Rocket Lab, another big candle on Friday in this aerospace. SIDU, made a huge move last week, over 100% in this sector in a week. That's where you want your eyes to be on, guys, is these hot themes, these hot sectors. When we get them, you got to be ready to capitalize. When we don't, you have to sit on your hands. As a swing trader, that's how we make money. SPCE, another one I'm keeping on radar. It's down here pretty low. It's got a $5 huge key level there. And we got to work our way up, and we've got to work our way up into it before we just throw darts blindly at the board. I want to have a clear target that I'm aiming for. And that's how I do it. That's how I've done it for years. This is how my mentors taught me how to do it. And this is what works for me, guys. We're ready to make some moves here in 2026. These higher lows and these higher highs tell me that something is ready, something is brewing in the way of the financial markets. I don't know what it is, but we're ready to move here pretty soon. And I'm going to be ready to capitalize when it happens. Until then, catch me staying patient, catch me working hard behind the scenes to have these great setups, to bring them to the table and to study them. And I hope you guys have a great trading week. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message or a DM. If you guys want to hop on a call, go through this with me. I do it every evening, so be more than happy to hop on and mentor anybody, answer any questions. And if you have any charts that you want to share with me, I'm also open to those too. We'll break them down as a unit. So that's it, guys. Peace, everybody. Have a great weekend. And starting tomorrow, I'm going to have my new computer I'll be going live to you guys with the webcam and everything. I actually have the new computer. It's just when Best Buy gave it to me, the shit was something was fucked up. Like it just wasn't working. It would power on and spin, and then it would just shut back off. So I sent the desktop back in. I still got the monitor, but I've got them shipping me a new one tomorrow. So peace. See you guys in the morning for live trading. But yeah, good luck everybody. Stay safe out there.